A few days ago, we talked about a lawsuit filed by the city of Phoenix against the city of Tempe, which could have implications or prevent the arena deal from taking place for the Arizona Coyotes. Today, we're going to talk about a new lawsuit, which is basically a counterclaim against the city of Phoenix from the development company. And this is all getting really messy. We'll discuss what's being said on both sides and if it will impact the arena deal coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some pretty interesting breaking, developing news on the Arizona Coyotes arena situation. Of course, we know the Coyotes are currently playing at Arizona State University, where they have an agreement in place to play for the next 3 to 4 seasons, while they hopefully are able to successfully build a new arena in Tempe. They have obviously a big agreement that's going to be voted on by the public next month. There's always the 3 propositions going to the public vote. And up until recently, things were progressing very positively. This is supposed to be a privately funded venture. It's not going to be just an arena. There's going to be a whole entertainment district, including, lots of other business opportunities, retail, housing, etc. And it was going to be a big thing worth billions of dollars and could hopefully get a new home for the Coyotes for a long, long time. Gary Bettman himself even said that the team was willing to make a 30-year commitment to staying in Tempe. So all that being said, a few days ago, we heard about a lawsuit being filed against the city of Tempe. This coming from Phoenix. Of course, the Phoenix airport is very much nearby to this development area. So the city of Phoenix launched a lawsuit against the city of Tempe. The main part of this was because of the housing development that was included in the arena project. So they had issues with that part of this development. And now the Coyotes, the Bluebird Development, which is their development company, have announced a $2.3 billion claim against the city of Phoenix for damages. Now, this is not really a countersuit per se, because the original lawsuit posed by the city of Phoenix does not directly attack the Coyotes. It's not against them. It's against Tempe. So obviously they're not on the hook, but it could have a major impact on their development, which is obviously the land that they want to develop on is in Tempe, and they obviously it's a little different. So it's not a counterclaim, but it's kind of a retaliation claim. I don't know how else you want to word it, but yeah, it's a big deal. $2.3 billion claim against the city of Phoenix for damages caused by this original lawsuit. So obviously, if this original lawsuit prevents them from developing, then they want $2.3 billion for damages. So essentially, there was a PR statement from the Coyotes organization, or from a PR firm representing the Coyotes, essentially says the following: to undermine a plan to convert a hazardous, unlined Tempe-owned landfill into a new sports and entertainment district next to the Tempe Town Lake. We will not stand for Phoenix bullying Tempe, and will vigorously push back on Phoenix shenanigans. In addition to this claim, Coyotes and Bluebird will continue to investigate Phoenix and Sky Harbor's use of taxpayer dollars to interfere with a neighboring city's election. Furthermore, they will be seeking any and all communications, documents, and negotiations between the city of Phoenix, council members, and Phoenix city staff with any and all developers, properties, business owners, etc. within Phoenix city limits and similar proximity to Sky Harbor as Tempe Entertainment District. So those are some pretty condemning words. So not only are they, counterclaiming here basically for damages, preventing them from potentially developing, or at least developing in the manner that they want. My original understanding of that lawsuit wasn't that it was going to prevent the arena, but it had, like I said, issue with the housing development. So obviously, if they can't, which I had mentioned in that original video when I first talked about it, if they can't develop things the way they want to, maybe they'll not find it as favorable conditions, and maybe they won't want to proceed. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not an expert on some of that stuff. It's difficult to say. Now, with this new lawsuit being filed against the city of Phoenix from the Coyotes and Bluebird Developments, Phoenix has responded to it. I was obviously, we'll see if anything goes to court or how things play out. But here's the city of Phoenix's remarks talking about this suit. It says, Phoenix responds by saying that it understands the frustration of the developers, but those frustrations should be directed at the city of Tempe after it ended discussions on a potential compromise. They said there was a meeting with both city mayors, both city managers, that we understood that Tempe was open to a reasonable compromise that would protect the airport, communications around the airport, and allow these developments to proceed. That compromise was at Tempe's request reduced to a single document that would have been amended the IGA to allow the current project. We expected to hear promptly, and instead Tempe ended discussions. So ultimately, the city of Phoenix is putting this back on the city of Tempe, saying, hey, we had concerns, we tried to address those concerns, and we thought we had an agreement, an amendment in place, and everybody talked about it. We had a big meeting, and we expected to hear a prompt response once those amendments were put forth in writing, and instead, the city of Tempe never responded and kind of cut off discussions and negotiations, which I don't know. Obviously, we'll see if those allegations prove to be true, but certainly, you understand their side of the story here to some degree, but obviously the Coyotes and their developers don't quite see things as being as simple here as that. So they've responded again. So these words now come from the Coyotes side of the story. It says the Phoenix City Hall's bad behavior seems intended to preserve its downtown sports venue monopoly and has nothing to do with safety or soundness of the airport. It also says Phoenix has allowed developers to build a basketball arena, ballpark, apartments. It was in-flight pass, but when Tempe decides to attempts to do the same thing, a manufactured crisis arrives. So obviously, Tempe people, the Coyote people who want this project to move forth, basically saying that the city of Phoenix is trying to preserve a monopoly and that they see this project as obviously something that they don't want probably for competition purposes. Obviously, a brand new arena and entertainment district would give a lot of competition for different types of events and venues around that general area. So this is getting messy. It really sounds, this is like a really nasty divorce almost. Like it's not even a case of, saying something as simple as, we have issues here, or we want this change, we want that change. It sounds like, children at play to some degree. Now, I'm not saying that they don't both have their valid points. I'm going to take you one side or the other. I'm not a local in the area, so I do. Obviously, I've researched the whole thing to the best of my abilities. I know, and I've heard from different local people on this, whole thing, because it's been going on for some time. Not necessarily the lawsuits, but the arena development. Why things haven't worked out, and previously with the Coyotes when they were in Glendale, and the whole shenanigans, like the whole thing down there is complex. And if you don't live there and you don't know the local politics and everything, it can be a little bit confusing. That's why, like I said, I don't claim to be an expert. I'm reading articles, trusting sources that are kind of putting this out there and kind of trying to form an opinion, but it's challenging on who's right and who is wrong. But at the end of the day, regardless of, who's causing what here, the biggest concern is that this could end up really causing some major issues with this new development. And if they can't develop this arena, what happens to the Arizona Coyotes? It's just quite that simple. I'm not really sure outside of Tempe that there's really much else that they can really do here for a new arena. But again, I know I heard of multiple scenarios that were being discussed before they went this path. But, considering that they have an agreement with ASU, this whole project is something that they were very confident in doing. It had been proceeding well up to this point until the lawsuits came about. The lawsuits, litigation can hold things up in court for a long time sometimes. I just really wonder what the long-term outcome is here for this arena development. Is it going to be able to proceed? Is it not going to be able to proceed? I'm sure at some point we may see Gary Bettman in the NHL get involved. We know Gary's done everything in his power to keep this franchise in its current area. I don't know. It just seems like things are getting nasty, and this whole arena project now suddenly has a lot of question marks instead of looking extremely positive and reassuring that it was going to be moving forward. Especially if you live in the area, if you have more of a local perspective on things, I'd love to see your comments down below and get what your thoughts are between these different lawsuits that are being placed here between Phoenix and Tempe, and of course the Coyotes and Bluebird against Phoenix now. I kind of see, it's easy to understand, I guess, what both of their concerns are, but it's hard to really see how this plays out and where things move forward from here. So let me know what your thoughts are. Is this arena project, going to not happen now? What happens then? Where do they go? What is the plan? Will they survive? Will they have to? Will they relocate? I don't know. It's just a whole bunch more questions now. When we thought we had all the answers, we suddenly do not. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.